We'll begin a look at the papers this morning with the New Telegraph newspaper, which leads with Cybersecurity levy. NLC, OPS, others demand immediate reversal of CBN's directive. And look at the riders. Say it's more burden on already suffering Nigerians. Nation's cashless policy confusing citizens overcharged. Ascribed to OPS. Levy another stealth tax on private sector, according to Nasima, as Serap gives FG 48 hours to withdraw directive or face legal action. That's the lead story of the New Telegraph. And how about the Nigerian Tribune? Cybersecurity levy will add more burden on Nigerians, that's according to experts. Say FG should suspend it to save businesses from running down. Levy another subtle tax on private sector, according to Nasima. Put implementation on hold, says CPPE. Serap gives Tinubu CBN 48 hours to withdraw unlawful levy. That is from the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Look at the Guardian newspaper. FG Shuns financial inclusion imposes more taxes on citizens, depositors. That story is on page 6. The infographic on the front page is depositors taxes, and taxes is in inverted commas, all kinds of things, 2%, individual cash deposit above limit, corporate cash deposit above limit 3%, SMS alert 4 naira, statement of account 200 naira, on and on and on. The details on the front page continues on the inside pages. Several other stories on the front page, but that's the lead story of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Daily Trust newspaper has the same story, and look at it. NLC CSOs reject cybersecurity levy. Serap threatens to sue FG. It's another burden on Nigerians, that's ascribed to experts. Daily Times has the same story. Outcry over CBN's cybersecurity levy on bank transactions. NLC demands immediate reversal. That story is on page 4. Now, the pictures you see on the front page are of damages done to popular tourist spot Landmark Beach Resort due to the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, just in case you're wondering what the pictures are about. But the lead story has details on page 4. The Nigerian Observer has this on its front page. Nigerians oppose cybersecurity levy as Serap gives FG 48 hours to rescind policy. The details on the front page. It continues on the inside pages. Nigerian News Direct has this one. Cybersecurity levy ill-timed will impact adoption of digital transactions. That's according to Anderson. As CBN exempts 16 transactions, Serap alleges levy violates constitution, human rights regulations. The details on the inside pages of the paper today. Blueprint newspaper goes in another tangent for its lead story. Fresh impeachment move. Fubara, Rivers APC flex muscles. Clark writes IGP over danger. We shall invoke relevant sections of the Constitution. That's one of the riders, and it's ascribed to the APC chair. RVSG says indigents will resist 27 lawmakers. PDP mum. Details on the front page and continues on the inside pages. Daily Independent has that same story. Rivers crisis comes to a head as APC asks Assembly to impeach governor. Riders use magistrate court to try pro-Wike lawmakers. PDP reps tell governor. Say 27 lawmakers lack legitimacy to amend procurement law. Want them declared wanted, prosecuted for alleged impersonation. Ask INEC to conduct election to fill vacant seats and save Rivers. Clark writes IGP over impending breakdown of law and order in state. Details you'll find on page 29. And of course, it has the cybersecurity story as well at the bottom of the page. The Vanguard newspaper has a different headline. Oil block. FG removes signature bonus to woo investors. And look at the riders. Signature bonus, highest in Nigeria, says Lukubiri. Adds oil will remain relevant to Nigeria's economy. 667 firms eyeing 57 oil blocks on offer. The details you find on page 5 of the paper this morning. Mr. and Mrs. has this one. I like everything in that soup, especially the stockfish. How can I get this type of soup regularly? And Mrs. responds, invest in stock exchange. Give me money, you get plenty of stockfish. And that's a look at some of the headlines this morning. What's your take? The interesting part of that, stock, well, it's one of those words, homonyms, homograms, homophones, whichever one it is, I don't know. But the front page of the Guardian newspaper is what I'm picking on this morning. But it's one of those stories in little boxes at the bottom of the page. Abandoned 4,837 export containers at Akpakpa port causes stir. Natural question should be why. Now, I remember sometime not too long ago, about a year or two ago, the president of the AFDB, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, was saying that it is cheaper to export from Nigeria than it is from Ghana, and give all kinds of analysis as to why that is the case. The question we should be asking ourselves is why this has happened. Is it a global best practice? Is it a standard practice for there to be 4,000, almost 5,000 open containers, almost 5,000 containers, empty containers at the Apapa port, used, and they're just sitting right there? What are the risks? And then it's occupying quite a lot of space, I dare say. Now, we have been talking about congestion at the ports for so long. The question a number of people will be asking is why this has happened and why this has lingered. Maybe the reports, the details on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper this morning will tell us for how long these containers have been there, for how long they have been piling up. Who are the people responsible for this pileup? Are these also going to be charged demurrage before they are removed from there? What happens if they are not removed? Countless questions. And I know that, of course, we all know that export containers are used for diverse other things. Why are they still there? It begs a lot of question about the entire process of exporting. We are talking, for instance, about increasing our productivity and doing more exporting so that we can gain more dollars and reduce the cost of the naira. I don't know whether or not these things are related, but it's definitely a cause for concern. Almost 5,000 containers lying idle at the Apapa port, and one wonders why and for how long they've been there. Maybe the question should be asked and answered by the authorities themselves this morning. That's my take this morning, Kayla.
Yeah, indeed. Of course, this cybersecurity levy is on the front page of almost every newspaper this morning.
Yeah.
But there's quite a lot of other things going on, and we're going to get into that conversation. I hear our guest is already on. We're going to be talking to him via Zoom, shortly. But to look at other things, because the conversation about that levy, it's a very important one. We're seeing that the labor unions are giving ultimatums again. I don't know if that's going to be enforced. Is there some kind of explanation as to why this levy is there? It's coming up, so just stay with us. We'll be getting to that. But I'm looking at this story here from the Leadership newspaper. The absence of governing councils worsen varsity's crisis, and we're seeing that from page 4 of the Leadership newspaper. 42 governing councils dissolved in June of last year. 52 federal universities currently operating without governing councils. 10 federal universities established in 2021 are yet to have governing councils. What's the issue? What's going on here? Does it affect the quality of the education that we're giving in these schools? That is from the Leadership newspaper, page 4. Uncertainty gripping most universities over the absence of governing councils. Vice chancellors and unions at loggerheads over running of universities. This is another issue that has to be looked at, the governing councils of the universities in our country and how it's affecting the kind of education we're giving to the younger generation. That's from the Leadership newspaper, like I said earlier. More from page 4. And there are other stories that are going on here. In fact, I saw this one, Ayo. This is one I think you might be interested in seeing, as you're one of my fellow nostalgic friends. It's from the Vanguard newspaper. It's at the top of the paper there. And such sad news for those of us who spent our lives watching New Masquerade every Tuesday. The headline says, popular, the New Masquerade actress Ovularia. For those of you who watched New Masquerade back then, you know who we're talking about. Ovularia died on Sunday at the age of 81. More on the details of that death on page 6 of the Vanguard newspaper. And I know you can remember how, Chief Zebradayo Koribo would come up and shout, Ovularia, Ovularia, and she would come out, and, it was such a nostalgic time and such a sad story there, but she is loved by a lot of Nigerians there. Ovularia dies at the age of 81. Ayo, do you remember New Masquerade?
How in the universe can I forget? If you ask me to sing the song, I will. And I also remember that the artist that did the signature tune of that very, very beloved sitcom is an organization, a band called Peacock Organization. It's something that so many people will never forget. Just not too long ago, I think it was about the past 1 week, I saw a picture of Ovularia in the 80s and her picture before she died. This is definitely a very sad and touching one, and she's one of those people that helped so many people to escape depression in their day, when it was in those days that the austerity measures and all of those other economic upheavals were beginning to touch on Nigerians. She definitely will be sore missed. Well, that said about the papers, let's take a short break now and a few messages. And when we return, it's time to get down to the nitty-gritty. Do stay with us.